Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sports News Stream, and my name is Vernon F. Miller. And today, we got a special guest, my best friend, sports colleague, upcoming future sports blog, and a few, Mr. Robert McMillan. How you feeling, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, man?
Hey, I can't complain. So, today's topic is in the NBA. And if we're going to talk about the NBA, then the hottest story going on right now is a Mr. Ben Simmons and all types of shenanigans in the Philadelphia 76ers. Have you been updated on this information, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for you not to be updated. And there's just so much going on, so much swirling around that, I mean, the question is, where do you want to start? I mean,
right.
It's a hot topic, and it's no way getting out of it. Even if you're not into basketball, you can't get off the subject. You turn the TV on or you look, it's all around.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy is a new piece every 6 hours. Like, okay, so the latest a few hours ago was Ben Simmons out indefinitely due to back spasms, and he's mentally not there yet. And then about 3 hours later, Morey gets on, the president, I believe he's the president, right, of the Sixers?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He gets on the Philadelphia Fanatic, the Fanatic Show, 97.5, and just is transparent as toilet paper in the water. Like, right with the questions, right with the answers. And he basically said, and I remember me and you having a conversation privately about this, and you hit the nail on the head. He said, hey, I got 4 years to do whatever I want to do with you. The leverage is over here. You have no leverage whatsoever. So I don't understand his team, his agent, his associates, his managers, his lawyers. I just don't understand what they're telling him to what he thinks he already knows. Even the players around him that he associates with, you would have to think, Rob, that maybe a LeBron or Carmelo or somebody's in his ear saying, you know, this may not be a real good idea. You may be handling this the wrong way. Would you agree?
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree. But you know, the first part of your question is, listen, I definitely commend Morey for his patience on this issue and this matter, because this situation right here could be a distraction for the team in itself. But what I do like, what Morey is telling the league is that, listen, we're not standing down from what we initially put out on what we want to receive for Ben. And he letting the league know that, listen, at the end of the day, we still a team that can go out and compete. At the end of the day, we still a team that can make the playoffs. Are we a better team with Ben? Yes. They're a better team with Ben, but at the same time, to let the league know that, listen, he has a contract for 4 years. I'm not backing down to that. I'm not going to let Ben force me into making a trade, because that's what it looks like he's doing. They're taking a distraction, and kind of like how you would do a kid. They're going out. They're being real professional. His teammates playing basketball, and they're looking the other way. And yeah, I think one of the veteran guys probably should step up. And I know sometimes they kind of like to stay out of, some situations, because, you know, as a player, you know, everybody's situation, every contract dispute they go through is different. But this is just different. You know, this is the situation where you had an organization that opened a pocketbook for him. You have a organization that said, look, we want you. We're giving you the money that you're asking for. We're giving you the max. And you can't take constructive criticism because, you know, you're not shooting and you're not owning up to your own faults. that I'm just going to go and pout. And that's to me, that's what it seems like he's doing. So it's a different situation where it's a player that wants to get out of a bad organization. Organization, that's not running right, or the coach is bad. But this situation is a win-win for any player in the NBA that would want to come to a team that compete for a championship with arguably the best center in the league. So, I mean, if he didn't get hurt, he probably would have won MVP if he played enough games.
Absolutely. And it's kind of sad because we were touching on that earlier, that, you know, we were looking at the Sixers game the other night, and it seemed like, you know, once that team started gelling, a lot of those guys that was performing real good that night were on the bench last year. You know, so when you start talking about the Maxis, the Korsma who balled out, you know, and then the additions that they added, and they still cruise past New Orleans. Now check it out. Now imagine if Ben was actually starting. That means Maxey goes to the bench. So now you got Maxey coming off the bench. Kuzma's coming off the bench. The new guy they just acquired coming off the bench, and their scores. Oh, by the way, you're throwing Drummond on the bench. Like, you got a whole, you know, generic starting five coming in off the bench. Like, each of these guys can, like, at least sustain or push back at any type of run, or can hold off to keep a lead until them starters get the proper rest to come back on and finish it off. You know, that's if Ben was to come back. I mean, this is like a real put together team this year. You know, and it's just crazy that, you know, Ben decides to go ahead and take this route. Like, this guy looks like he's never been held accountable for anything in life. Like, you know, everything was handed to him. Like, he's having the ultimate. He's having a temper tantrum on steroids right now. I just don't get it, Rob. Like, you know, and I don't understand where he thinks this is going. It's not going to go in his favor. No time soon, anyway.
I agree. Listen, let me not take nothing away first. Ben is a talented specimen. He's a talented player in the league. Absolutely. I never saw no one quite like him, because, you know, to have an NBA player come out of, not NBA, college player come into the NBA and not shoot the ball, but still had success in other areas. I was one of the doubters that I thought maybe when they said he was going to have him come into the league to play point guard, I looked and I was saying to myself, well, I don't know, maybe forward would probably be better for him, because normally when you have those tall players, they they're kind of clumsy, but he showed that he can guard the point guard position, and he even some of the quick point guards, his defense, his ability to see the floor in open court, to find open player, his ability at times to create, come through and create his own shot, you know, when he's, you know, not thinking too hard, because that's when he started, you know, making mistakes. But the professional, I got to hand the guys, I got to say this much. I've seen Maxey and, you know, some of the other guys over the summer. To see them before the season actually ended, from last year until now, I must say that this is something that Ben probably should have been doing. So you can see the professionalism of the guys, where they say, well, look, I need to improve in these certain areas. I know I wasn't a great shooter as Maxey, but I'm going to work on that. I know I'm not a good post-up player, but I'm going to work on that. Korkmaz, I know I'm not, I know I have flaws in my game, but these players took the time over the summer to go to the gym, to to work on their flaws and their weaknesses, and they came back. You can see that, you know, they actually put the work in. Reverting back to Ben, you know, Ben, in the off season. I mean, we see these tapes that he put out on social media, but then he comes to he comes into the season and is not showing nothing that he's not doing nothing or showing us from what these tapes, what we see from these tapes. And I just think that is to me, I think, and it's mind-boggling because with a jumper, and we're not saying he has to have a three, but just with a mid-range, just a jumper, that this guy can be arguably, and well, of course he work up, in his post-up game, he has a high ceiling. If all he had to do in the offseason, work on his game, and this guy probably, arguably, could be a LeBron 2.0, or probably he probably will be unguardable. And I'm not going to put LeBron name out there, but he probably could have been one of the best players in the league. And it's upsetting because just because your coach, just because your teammates, they kind of hold you accountable, want you to be able to take it and say, well, you know what? I know I could have done this better. I could have done this. Instead of doing that, he pouted and decided to say, I don't want to work on that part of my game, and I prefer to ask for a trade. But the number one, the important thing about that whole situation is, okay, let's say he get traded. Your flaws is going to follow you to another team. And until you can fix it, if you're going to change the scenery, it's not going to change anything because you're the same Ben Simmons, the same player, and nothing's going to change. So, I mean, that's the part that bothers me with him. I will say that, I was a Ben Simmons fan. I'm kind of ashamed to put that out there, but and I know there were times when we battled back and forth, and you were strictly Embiid, and we would go back and forth. And it's a shame that they couldn't. But I must say that this is Embiid's team. This is his team, and it showed me when even during the injury, he still went out there and still balled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, with that being said, let me ask you, in conclusion, where do you see this going?
All right. So where I see this is, I honestly think that what Ben is trying to do is he's trying to be disruptive. He's trying to force the Sixers into to moving him, and with a GM like Morey and an assistant GM Brand, and just the Sixers organization, and I think that they have the coach Doc. I think they got Doc Rivers that also bored into it, and with the players, not giving it too much energy. I think Ben Simmons right now is sitting on an island of his own, and he's just running out of options. I think that until the Sixers get what they want, or serious inquiry, or if they get a quote-unquote all-star player in return, Ben Simmons is going to be with the Sixers until that happens because, listen, he signed a contract for 4 years. So he can go ahead and he can he can do all the shenanigans. But at the end of the day, you're going to get fined. They're going to suspend you. So you coming back, they're going to recoup the money. So at the end of the day, listen, I think he just needs to be professional and just come back and say, listen, okay, I'm going to play. But in the process, while I'm playing, I'm letting you guys know that if a trade come about, I will be interested in being traded. Until he can come back and be professional about it. I mean, Ben is going to be here because he's kind of making it hard for a team. I'm going to be honest. If I was a GM and I'm looking at the situations, I know there's going to be teams out there that's definitely going to bite, that's going to take them. But as a GM and I'm looking at this situation, I'm looking at him to say, well, okay, at one point I would have traded for you, but at the end of the day, you might bring that attitude over here, that negativity, that negative attitude, and we don't want that on our team because, at the same time we're making a trade for you, you do have flaws. Those are the facets of your game we would like to work on, but if it all comes down to Ben is in control of fixing himself, and if he don't, I'm be honest with you, I just think that the Sixers are just going to sit tight and just wait until they get their player.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ben is going to bend and give in, come back, do what he has to do to get out of that situation, because there's no other way to do it. You know, the Sixers still have options on. You know, they can go all the way down to voiding this contract if they feel like it.
And not to interrupt you, let me just throw that out there. So they're not going to void his contract, because if they void his contract, the Sixers are on the hook to pay his whole contract. It's guaranteed money. They're not going to do that. They're not going to. He wants to be paid, but they're not going to pay you for being disrupted. They're not going to do that. Like you said, the best case scenario for him is to just come and play and just hang tight for a trade, because if you come and play, I think Ben might be gone by the deadline, because I do think teams with players on 1-year contracts, about the trading deadline, the team GMs and coaches kind of know the makeup of their team, and at the beginning they trying different lineups to try to see if it works, but I think teams start getting desperate towards that time, and they want to make that push, and I think a team would take a chance, but he can't come with this type of attitude.
Hey, well, it's going to definitely be on the top of everyone's radar in the upcoming weeks and throughout the season. Well, good brother, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're definitely going to end this.
Hopefully it's not the last.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that like button. Until next time.